Coming up next, I'm Walking with Dad.
Took a few minutes, worked up the courage. My brother was getting bored and kept trying to run off, and I kept battling him back. No, we need to do this. We need to do it now. Finally, I get the courage, grab my brother, and we walk up to him, real polite, respectful, tap him. Excuse me, sir. I apologize for interrupting your conversation. I don't mean to be rude, and I don't mean to be a pain, but I think you might be our father. And immediately, he looked at me, looked at my brother, and then asked,
and welcome to another great episode here at Walking with Dad, where we allow our dads and our fathers to give their perspective and their insight, get insight from them rather about the significance of being present within their kids' life, within the family life. Here we celebrate Father's Day every single day and not just on the calendar day that is taking place. Nope, I'm gonna do that again. And welcome back to yet another great episode here at Walking with Dad. This is the place of where we allow dads and fathers to give their perspective and we get insight from them about the significance of being present within their kids' life and within the family's life. Here we actually like to celebrate Father's Day every single day, and we're bringing the family back together one step at a time by talking with our fathers one-on-one. Today, I actually have the great opportunity of sitting with someone that I've actually met fairly recently, actually, while I was out and about. I got a chance to meet this guy, today's guest, while I was getting assistance from him at his job at the time, working at Best Buy. I was actually looking for a laptop that I was, looking to use. So I went to none other than Best Buy. This guy was very much so knowledgeable. His customer service skills were like extremely great. Of course, at the time, on a typical weekend day, Best Buy, any retail place is getting slammed with, people needing assistance with whatever. But this guy, today's guest, he was once again just very much so there for me to assist me with my needs at the time. And because of that, I just had to ask him. I'm like, man, do you happen to have any kids? Are you a father by chance? He definitely said yes. So I was like, I got to get you on, man. So along with that, he is a retired vet, a retired member of the Navy. He is currently an entrepreneur. And he refers to himself as a family man to the best of his ability. So without further ado, to introduce to some and to present to others, I want to give the floor to today's guest, Mr. Lameek Rivers. Lameek, man, how you doing, man?
hey, what's going on, brother?
Man, it's a pleasure to sit across from you today, man.
I appreciate the opportunity, my guy. It's been a minute.
Yes, sir, man. How are you doing on today?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Got up early, got my workout in. I got a bunch of errands to run and take care of, but you know what I'm saying? Doing all right. Sun is shining. Sun is sunny today.
Yes,
Good day.
sir. Hey, man. Well, once again, I appreciate you with being with us here at Walking with Dad today, just to share some some insights, some of your stories with us today, man. If you could briefly give us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. Born and raised in New York City. Born in St. Vincent's Hospital on Staten Island. Bounced around. Lived in Brownsville, Brooklyn for a little bit, then back on Staten Island. My mom's moved my sisters, my brother, and myself out here to Virginia Beach, Virginia in 2002. And I've been here stomping around ever since. I joined the Navy, had kids, got married, divorced, stayed in the Navy, retired from the Navy, and now back here trying to make up for lost time, if that makes sense. So I'm building my brand, building up my business, building my empire, and hand the keys over to the kids when I'm done. You know what I mean?
Brownsville is like a type of like house out in Brooklyn or in New York.
So Brownsville is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. It's a neighborhood in Brooklyn on one of the boroughs. Staten Island, we really don't count it because there really ain't nothing there. Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens. You know what I'm saying? Brownsville is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. There are definitely, well, not so much anymore. It's gotten gentrified. I'll say that. Still a beautiful neighborhood. Still a beautiful place to be. Still love the people, but it's not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be. But it's nice. It's beautiful out there. Love it. Love going home. Love visiting fam. Love staying out there.
Gotcha, man. So I mean, and I don't know if it just mattered. If it was just a matter of something that happened, then that's what it is. But had your mom ever mentioned to you and your siblings like why she chose to move from New York to Virginia?
She did once, and it was shortly, I would say maybe 8 months or so after we moved out here. I asked. I was frustrated. New York is very go, go, go. Virginia, not so much. It's very slow, or at least someone coming from New York down to Virginia, it is drastically different. So being frustrated with adjusting and not knowing how to slow down. I asked her one night, and I asked her why would she do that? Why would she move us here away from most of our family? Like, I had an aunt and an uncle here, and then my godfather is in like Richmond, so maybe like 40 minutes away or something like that. And I asked her, like, why would you move? Why would you move us? And she responded that she looked me in my eyes and she told me she needed a fresh start. But as an adult with children who look up to me, who question me, and who want to understand, and me being on a path to better myself every day, I get it. There was an opportunity that came in the form of orders and a bonus from the Navy a few years ago, which was like a lifeline. After my divorce, I spent quite a bit of time, and I'm sorry to drone on. I spent quite a bit of time dealing with debt and paying child support and this, that, and the third, and me being at the time I think an E4 in the Navy. Brother, when I tell you that struggle bus was real, oh boy. But an opportunity presented itself to that would solve my immediate problems of finances and be able to free me of the financial constraints. So that way I could do more for and with my kids, which is all I wanted to do. So, and also after going through and dealing with making a bunch of bad decisions in life, in relationships, my career, I needed a change. I wanted to be better, and I found it difficult to improve because I kept falling back into the same cycles, hanging with the same people, doing the same thing, making the same mistakes. It wasn't until that moment that I realized I get it. I get why she moved us down here. And that came at, I was what, 28 at the time? I was 28 years old when it finally hit me, when it finally made sense,
Wow. Wow, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, brother.
That was a
Yeah.
lot of nuggets, but we'll expound off that. No,
Sorry, just drone on, you know what I mean?
that's what you're here for, man.
I
So,
got stories, brother. I got stories, man. Trust me.
yeah, man, and from that, like from when you were younger, like you said, you initially asked to, even 28 at the time. It just sounds like one of them instances of in life that some things are caught and some things are taught. And even when she initially was teaching you, you didn't catch it until 28. So that's kind of like a life lesson that happens sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because the lesson went smooth over my head. Because at the time I was so focused on, ugh, I don't want to be here. I want to go back to New York. I want I want to hang out with my friends. I miss my friends. You know what I mean? I want to
Man,
go play Nintendo 64 with my aunt. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. You know what I mean?
man. So what
I don't
we'll
care about none
do,
of this. But
yeah, man.
as we grow, we grow. You feel
Yeah. All right, man. So let's backtrack and then we'll build up to a lot of that because, like I said, that was a lot right there. So you're a
me? I got
good
you.
chunk
I
of your
got you.
childhood was in Brooklyn. So how was it for you coming up in Brooklyn? And like you said, you have siblings as well. So how was that experience for you? Like your younger childhood? You mentioned your mom. Was dad around at all?
Nah.
Mm.
I had heard of him. I had heard of, but he didn't come around until I didn't meet him the first time until maybe 2000, 2001, maybe. Yeah, maybe. And that was a crazy chance meeting. But again, that's another story. But we at the time, just before we moved here, so we lived in Brooklyn for a little bit, but most of our time was actually spent on Staten Island because that's where my grandmother was. My mom's friends. That's where her support was. The support in Brooklyn was more so my stepdad,
Mhm.
my twin sisters, their father was more so him. That was under his influence, but most of our time was spent in Staten Island.
So, I mean, we got some time, bro. So, like you said, it was a chance story. Like, fill us in with like how that happened, because that was right before y'all were about to move down here, and you had just met him in
Pretty
person.
much, it was maybe like I maybe got like a year and some change of time with him before we moved out here, before we moved down to Virginia. But how the story goes, in my grandmother's neighborhood, the entire neighborhood got together. It was called Harbor Day. The projects, the townhouses, everybody got together. There was a park right in the center, and they would shut down the whole neighborhood. They would block it all off. And the day, I want to say just before Labor Day, before all the kids had to go back to school. The whole neighborhood is shut down, big ass party right at the park. And so me and my brother had begged my mom, can we go to grandma's house? Because we want to go to Harbor Day. It's been so long since we've gone. We want to go to Harbor Day. My mom okayed it. She had to work anyway. Cool. Me and my brother were excited. She gave us $20. Y'all split it. You know what I'm saying? Do what y'all got to do. Don't ask for no more money. This is what you get. You better make it work. Cool, Ma. We got it. No problem. We'll be outside. When come back inside when the street lights come on. We got it. Good. So while walking around, I was actually waiting for the handball court. That was my jank. I gets busy on the handball. So I was waiting for my turn on the handball court. And there was a guy, Julio. He lived across the street from us.
Okay.
Few months prior, his house burned down, so they had to move. No
Mm.
one was hurt, no one was injured. No, it was just the house. So they had to move, and I hadn't seen him since.
Gotcha.
But I saw him, and while waiting, I ran up to him and said, "Hey, how's everything? How the kids? How's everything, et cetera, et cetera. You must be living in the area because you're here at Harbor Day. So where are you guys living at now?"
Yeah.
So we get caught up. We were talking, and I called my brother. My brother came over, said hello, then went back to eating ice cream or whatever it was he was doing. And he says the wildest thing to me. He looks me in my face and he goes, "You look just like your father." Well, that's odd. How do you? I don't even know what he looks like, but how do you know what he what he looks like? So and that really threw me. That really like, wow, that's crazy. And so I asked him, how do you know what my father looks like? I don't even know what he looks like. How do you know? No bull. And I apologize because I cuss. Cussing is that all right, or should I try to limit it?
Hey, do what you do, man. That's you. So
Appreciate it. Appreciate you. So no bullshit. He said, I just finished talking to him like 5 minutes ago. What? What? No way. Nah. No way. No way. No way, shape, or form. So I asked him, excuse me. So I asked him, I say, well, can you point him out to me? And he goes, yeah, if he's still there, I'll point him out. So I grabbed my brother. My brother is fighting me. He's fighting me. He doesn't want to stop playing whatever game he's playing. And he dropped his ice cream. He was upset, so he's resisting. So I had to do the older brother thing, grabbed him by the neck. Come on, let's go. He says he knows our father.
wow.
We need to go see him. He walks us over there and we're on the fence and he points him out. And he points to a gentleman. And I remember seeing the back of his head and I see him laughing and I can kind of hear voices and I hear one that I would think is his because it's very deep, it's very bassy. And at the time, going through puberty, mine was getting deep and bassy. And I'm like, that sounds a lot like me though. He finally turns around and it was like looking into a time mirror. I saw me, taller,
Wow.
older, just like me, glasses and everything, spitting image. I froze and could not, no matter what I told my legs to do, I couldn't, I did nothing. All I could do was just sit there. So for like 10, 15 minutes, I sat there and Julio sat right there. You all right? Are you good? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm shocked. What do I do? What do I do? What I thought I knew what I was supposed to do, but what do I do with this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
He goes, you want me to go get him for you? And I said, no, 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 no. I'll do it. I need a minute. So I took some time, took a few minutes, worked up the courage. My brother was getting bored and kept trying to run off. And I kept asking him back, no, we need to do this. We need to do it now. Finally, I get the courage, grab my brother, and we walk up to him, real polite, respectful, tap him. Excuse me, sir. I apologize for interrupting your conversation. I don't mean to be rude and I don't mean to be a pain, but I think you might be our father. And immediately he looked at me, looked at my brother, and then asked, who's your mother? And I don't know why at that time that irritated me,
Wow.
but it did.
Yeah.
It got under my skin. And at that moment, I couldn't understand or explain it, but it made me feel some type of way. As now, I can tell you exactly why that pissed me off, but
Of course.
whatever. We can circle back to that. So I told who my mother was, and he looked at me and he looked at my brother, and he had said something. He had turned and said something to the two guys he was with, and they took off. And then he walked us over, sat us down, and we had a long conversation. And then he walked us over to, I guess, walked us to the building he was living in, introduced us to the woman he was with at the time, my younger sister, Amber, which I knew of, but didn't know about, if that makes sense. And then, man, then I immediately me and my brother spent the rest of Harbor Day with him.
Wow.
Streetlights came on, told him we had to go. He walked us to my grandmother's building. He didn't walk, and I didn't realize it at first. He didn't come in the building. He just walked us to the door and then took off. I get it now. Then I didn't, but I get it now. And then my brother, while we were in the elevator going up, my brother asked me, he looks at me and he goes, "Are you gonna tell Ty I have to? Like we can't not. I have to. You don't, but I have to do this." So I get in the house and I love my grandmother. That's my angel. That is the first, and I'm the favorite grandbaby. There's a thing there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's a thing there. So I love grandma. So I get upstairs. My brother, he goes to take a shower, and grandma's in the living room. I go to sit next to her on the couch. I give her a hug and I give her a kiss. And I say, "Grandma, I have something to tell you." Turns the TV off and she looks at me. And she looks at me with that look like she may have to grab like her little stick just in case. You know what I'm saying? But I tell her, "Hey, Ty and I, we just met our father." And she went palest I've ever seen my grandmother. She went pale and asked me how I felt, how I was doing. I told her, I was like, "I'm confused. I want to talk to him some more. I want to understand. I have questions, etc., etc." And she said, "All right, well, go shower. Dinner's in the oven. You and your brother aren't going to play that video game too late tonight. I don't know what time your mother's getting back. So you guys are going to go to bed like you're supposed to." "Okay, Grandma, no problem." The night continues. I remember being woken up and told to get dressed. The haze, I assume, is my mom picking us up to take us home. We get home, and 1 second. Sorry about that, brother. Got a call. We get home and my mom puts my brother to bed, and then she puts my brother to bed and then comes to me and tells me we need to have a talk. I'm thinking, like, still in the haze, I'm thinking, "Oh crap, I'm in trouble. What did I do? I made sure the room was clean before we left. Why am I about to get a beating? Like, what did I do?" You know what I mean? But she sits me down at the table and she asked me, she goes, "Did you see your father today?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And she goes, Do you know about him? Like, what do you know about him?" "Only what he's told me so far." So she sat me down at the kitchen table. It was very late, and told me some things that I still to this day don't know if it's true or not. But because I was raised to believe in people and to have hope, I hoped that what was said wasn't true. And she asked me if what I wanted to do. She said she will never tell me that I can't see him or spend time with him, but she wanted me to be prepared for what may or may not happen. Understood. I would like to try to build a relationship with him. And she allowed it. She allowed it, no problem. There was no questions, there was no issues, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I mean? So after a bit, there was the attempt for the relationship. There was, going over on the weekends, school holidays, hanging out, spending time with my younger sister, playing video games with them, etc., etc., and everything seemed dope. I started to feel complete, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As time went on and wanting to do things, wanting to do the typical father-son, let's go out and play some football things, or let's go to the city and walk around Central Park, stuff like that. Wanting to do the things and constantly being told no because of, this has to be done, that has to be done, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I got it. I get it. I understand. But there was an incident that occurred. There was an incident that occurred that involved a pair of my sneakers. My mom had purchased me a new pair of sneakers and I was really excited. I was really excited to show him this pair of sneakers. So one weekend I wore them over to his house, and I will never forget this. They went missing. And when I asked everyone in the house. I asked, the woman he was seeing. I asked my sister. She said she hadn't seen him. I asked the woman he was seeing, and she said she saw him with him. And I assume it was just because he was moving him somewhere. But come to find out, they were sold for drugs.
Boy.
And that started the hesitation that kind of sowed the seeds of doubt. And I started to believe what was told to me prior to trying to establish the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good. You good.
I was
You good,
into
bro.
it. I was watching the movie, so to stop it, man.
You can appreciate it, man. I told you, brother. I got some stories, man.
Wow.
My guy. I promise you.
So I only have to ask because of that. And since then, and that's like 22 or so years now, 22, 23. By chance, do you still happen to keep in contact with, or have you contacted him since, or do you keep in contact with him at all?
There have been okay. I'll answer the question. As far as contact now, nah.
Okay.
No, there have been over the years several attempts, milestones of mine, advancing my career in the Navy, my kids, graduating high school with a 3-year-old or 3-month-old son. You know what I mean? Where most others dropped out of school. I finished with honors. You know what I mean? Like milestones, like me having a kid, me joining the Navy, my first deployment, et cetera, et cetera. Over the years, there have been moments where I've reached out to him. Some he was there for, some he wasn't. I never held it against him. It wasn't until my children, one trip to New York, bringing my kids, it was a family reunion. And my kids and I were going to stay with him. And one of the women he was with, I'll leave their names out of it. One of the women he was with, the mother of two of my younger siblings. And the kids and I stand there. They had enough room for us. The kids and I stay. The kids had a blast. They loved him. Like I still have the pictures in my cloud from us sitting on the ferry and going into Staten and, laughing and joking and getting on the train. And I still have those pictures. My kids loved him. He loved the kids. My kids loved their aunts, their uncle. They loved spending time. Everybody was great. A few years go by, a couple deployments go by, and I've got some time, I've got the money, and I've got some energy. You know what, kids? It's been a few years. Let's go to New York. Let's go see some family. And we go for my grandmother's 70th birthday. And I remember my son asking, it's actually my daughter. My daughter asked me if we can go and see grandpa. And I said, you know what, Yana? If you want to, I'll make it happen. So I call, no answer. I call, I text. I spent all day, and we only had, I want to say maybe like a day and a half of actual free time because everything else was, we had stuff planned. We had stuff to do.
Yeah.
So I had a day and a half of we can do whatever we wanted while we were here. I was going to give him a day. I was going to give him that time. Called, no answer. Called all the people who I knew that knew of him, that knew him. I called them, reached out to them. He goes through phone numbers for some reason, tried all the numbers. I tried Facebook calling. I tried WhatsApp. I tried everything that a damn smoke signal, everything that I knew that would get to him. I tried everything. I even spent that day, we are supposed to be hanging out, spent that day driving through and around Staten Island. Drove all through Staten Island, went into the city, drove through Manhattan, through the few spots I knew he kicked it at, drove through Brooklyn, the few spots I knew he kicked it at, drove through Queens, the few spots I knew he kicked it at. Could never get a hold of him. Got nowhere. And it sucked because as the day went on, I noticed my kids getting more and more upset. And no amount of pretzels from the cart, hot dogs, pizza, stuffed animal, nothing was making them happy. That upset me and frustrated me because I felt like I was failing. So finally, I got to the point, it was getting late and I wanted to do something for them. So I'm like, how about we just go and we go to Chuck E. Cheese? They said no. And then before Dave and Buster's was a thing, there was a spot out in New York called Fun Station. It's like Dave and Buster's minus the alcohol, but a lot like Chuck E. Cheese, it's just better. No germ-filled ball pit or nothing like that. Just games, play games, you win tickets, you get prizes.
Gotcha.
Cool. You know what I mean? So I decided to take them there. And while driving, my kids are sniffling because they were crying. I started to cry and it upset me. And I told myself, Never again. Never again where I allow you, bro, to come in and walk out of my life. And it's not even mine anymore. Like, I don't care that you did it to me. I made it. I'm good. I don't need you. It would be nice to have you, but I don't need you. The fact that you hurt my kids, though, that you disappointed my kids, and now I had to explain to them why we can't. I had to break that down to them. Nah. You want a relationship with me? You want a relationship with my kids? You're going to work for it. You are going to put some fucking time and some effort into it. And he hasn't, not consistently. So, and I'm at a point in my life where consistency is everything.
Yeah.
It's consistency, communication, compromise. Without that, we ain't got nothing. And if you can't give me that, there's no space for you here.
Consistency, communication, compromise. That's powerful, man.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate that story, and there's still a lot that we could pull from that. It's what's coming to mind is a matter of nowadays, because a lot of things that come to mind as far as this platform and this podcast is, a lot of the New York rappers, so to say, or just rap all together. A lot of them having the same story as like, yeah, grew up without my dad, he wasn't there for us, stuff like that. And it's almost like one time when I had gotten a procedure done, I think it was like, I was at the dentist and I had asked the dentist about like, this procedure that you're doing, do you ever get nervous when you do it? And he was like, I did when I started, but I've done enough of them now to the point that I get numb when I do it. And it's in these instances, men, our women, our sisters, our brothers who experience not having parents, but in particular dad around, that it's like, similar to a story like yours, that over time, like how you said, it's like when it happened to me, I got the picture, I got the hint, and I kind of, dealt with it. But it's like, and when it's another level that you're doing it to your grandkids and they're getting hit with that emotion, then it's like, it becomes deeper. So yeah, man. Yeah, that stood out, man. So yeah, I appreciate that for sure. Obviously, we must show appreciation to mom, to grandma as well, because of obviously them. I don't even want to say just for your particular instance, man, but in a lot of instances, just throughout time, having to step in and fill this void, so to say. Is grandma still also up in New York?
Come on. Oh, there you go. Okay. Got you. Sorry about that, brother.
It's all good. It was lagging again.
Yeah, man. I tried to catch it. I tried to catch it before it got too deep.
So yeah, what I was saying is your grandma, is she still up in New York or is she down here as well?
No, my grandmother's still in New York. She's of us, the older generations. I still got a bunch of cousins still up there. I still have a lot of family up there. My sisters, even like they're here. They're actually in for my son's graduation. They model up there and all that stuff. They still live up there. Most family, aside from one of my brothers who's in California, one of my sisters who's in Louisiana. Last I heard, she was in Louisiana. I don't know if that's still a thing, but last I heard, she was in Louisiana. Most of my family is still up in New York, which is great because when I go visit, it's one-stop shop. I can see everybody where everybody's available, and then I'll bring it on back down. Bring it on back down south. You know what I mean?
So how many of y'all is it all together?
I am the eldest of 8.
Wow. Okay. So do all of y'all share the same mother, or how does that play out?
My sister, you're my sister. My brother, you're my brother. Point blank. Period. There's no half or nothing. We're blood. That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there's I'm the eldest of us all. I am the first.
You seem to hold that kind of proudly, man.
Yes and no. Anybody who's got younger siblings knows there is a good and bad that comes with being the eldest. Getting whoopings for somebody else doing something, for not knowing something, just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So yeah, there's a level of having to be, there's a level of responsibility that is placed on the eldest child, whether it's intentional, unintentional. I'm inclined to think it's unintentional, it just kind of happens. But there's a level of responsibility that's instilled in the firstborn, the eldest child of all of them. You know what I mean? And it's a double-edged sword because it instills it. I don't want to say it takes away. I don't want to say it takes away from the childhood, but in a sense it does. And the reason I say that is strictly because and I can't speak for everyone, but for me growing up, my mom, she worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs, went to school, like she got her master's, her doctorate. Like my mom has been grinding. But in doing so, that means late nights. So instead of me playing basketball on a block until the streetlights came on, maybe a couple hours prior, I go inside and start getting dinner ready for my brother and my sisters. I start making sure everybody is, bathed and homework's done and this, that, and the third. Let's clean up the house so when mommy get home, I'm not getting a whooping. You know what I mean? Like let's get this taken care of so that way everything is all good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't want to say it takes away from the childhood, but there are moments in which, hey, I can't be a kid right now because I've got my siblings I got to take care of. I got to look after. You know what I mean? But the other side of that, the other blade to that double-edged sword is that because of that, I have understood what responsibility is for a long time, which has helped in, in team settings, group settings, leadership positions, et cetera, because I've had that stuff instilled in me early. It was easy. It was easy to implement later in life. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where it sucked then, but I appreciated it. You know what I mean? Looking back, I can say, but I can say I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
So with you having to step up, I'll say, early enough as you did, would you say that helped to prepare you for fatherhood, even for you as early as that took place? Because I know that you said that you had a son basically coming out of high school.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, it did. So I had my son. Well, not I had my son, but we had ours. We graduated in June 2006, end of March 2006. My son was born. So it was the final stretch of senior year, that last little bit. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much to where it wasn't, there's a double negative. I apologize. It wasn't not enough that, we could just say, we don't need to go to school no more. You know what I mean? There was still like that last little bit of the quarter where the grade actually like it counted. You know what I mean? And would affect the diploma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but finding out, and I'll never forget this. I was going to summer school, and I was going to summer school because I wanted to get ahead of classes. I wanted to graduate. No, not graduate. I wanted to not have to stay in school after 11:30. I wanted to do my 3 classes and then 11:30 be done with school. I can go to work. That was my goal. So let me take a class during summer school. Let me bite the bullet. It's only a couple of weeks. I'll bite the bullet, get the class done, get it knocked out. I don't have to worry about it. And I will never forget my ex-wife telling me. I'll never forget. She picked me up from summer school, and I was really excited. I was like, man, I'm done. I'm finally done. I don't have to worry about this crap no more. Now I can like enjoy the last little bit of summer. And I'll never forget. She told me, she was being really quiet, and couldn't understand why. What's wrong? Something feels off. Like, what's going on with you? And we get to her house, and I go to get out of the car, and she just is still sitting in the car. That's weird. Why are you sitting there? It's hot. Let's go inside where the AC is. So I get back in the car, and I'm like, what's going on? So she finally tells me, and my initial reaction was, as crazy as it sounds, I was excited. The worry and the holy shit, this is happening, that didn't come until like later that day. But initially, I was just like, oh, that's dope. That's my childlike mind was more so, I get to be the father I never had. And that excited me. If I know it may be difficult to understand, but that thought, that was the first neuron that went forward and back. That was it. And that excited me.
Yeah.
That thought excited me. That made me happy. Then, hours later, and, we got to sit down and we got to talk to the parents. Oh, shit. Oh, damn. You know what? Maybe this wasn't thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that the responsibility of my younger brothers and sisters, like those experiences definitely played a part, because when that moment happened, the thought of going to school, playing football, which I could have still done. I'm good. I want to focus on this without hesitation, without skipping a beat. The extracurricular activities as a youth, smoking, drinking, etc., all that stuff, that's done. I have to be a role model now. I have to take care of a human, not my brothers and sisters who I know will be fine, but a human that I helped create. That's my responsibility now. So you ask if if that responsibility that early plays a part, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. It plays a part, but in at the same time, in no way, shape, or form prepares you, if that makes sense. It doesn't prepare you at all. It helps you get in the mindset. But when it comes to it, these humans, these ain't your responsibility. These are their brothers, their sisters, cousins, whatever. You're told to watch after them, make sure they're safe. But, life happens. They're going to be all right. They're going to skin a knee. Someone's going to fall out of a tree. It's going to happen. Whatever, it is what it is. If they don't eat, oh, well, that's on them. You know what I mean? Somebody will feed them later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yours, yours, my guy, nah, that's a whole different ball game, brother.
Oh man, this came to me while you were talking, and if you're able to, I'd love your insight on it. But while you were talking, it came to me that you made the decision to be a father.
Oh, come on.
It's lagging again.
No, I'm good right now. I don't understand what is going on. All right, we good right now.
Okay.
We good.
Yeah, because I've turned some of my other devices off the Wi-Fi just in case it might be too much on it.
I made sure my mic's not connected to nothing. Like everything right now, aside from this MacBook and this phone, there was nothing else on in this house. Right? There's nothing else connected. So I'm not. I know it's bugging out. What's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. But you said I'm good. It's good right now?
Yeah, you good right now, brother. We good.
All right, cool. So yeah, man, from everything you were saying, from what I heard was that you made the decision to become a father. How significant is that to actually make a decision to be a father versus just to end up having a child?
That moment changed my life. From that moment, I decided that nothing I said or did, nothing that I thought or moved, how I moved or whatever, everything was for the betterment of my child. I wanted to make sure was for the best of them. Again, I stopped smoking that day. No more Black and Milds, done with them. I stopped smoking weed that day. No more smoking weed with my friends. I'm not hanging out with y'all after school no more. That's done. You know what I mean? My focus right now is I need to graduate. Get through high school, figure out what it is that I'm doing with my life after that. I've got a human I've got to take care of. I've got a mini me I've got to provide for. I don't got time for none of that. So in that moment, when I made the choice, I decided that from here on out, what governed my actions was how this was going to affect my tiny human.
Yeah.
Now, looking back over the last 18 years, I can guarantee you and I can say for certain, some decisions, some choices were not the best, and I can admit that. Some were not thought through fruition, meaning not thought through all the way, and saw how it would immediately impact and how it would affect them and didn't really think about the later. And I'm not going to say I regret anything because I don't like that. I don't like regrets. I feel regrets are a cop-out because everything that we've said or done has led us to who and what we are today. And regardless of what we've been through as a parent, as a friend, a teacher, uncle, whatever, godfather, whatever have you, whatever it is that we've been through, that has shaped us, that has brought us here, that has brought us to who and what we are and what we stand on today. So I don't like saying I regret or I wish I could change because I don't. Every choice and decision I've made to the best of my ability, I'll amend that, to the best of my ability at the time I thought and felt was the right decision to make because it would have a positive impact, a beneficial impact on my son immediately, my daughter immediately, and or those around me. So I don't like the whole regrets thing. I don't like that. So I'm not gonna say I regret anything because I don't. I appreciate the mistakes I've made, and I appreciate the errors and the bad decisions and the bad choices that I've made because I've learned so I can teach somebody else. I learned from those mistakes so I can sit down with my son and tell him, hey, listen, I wouldn't go about it that way because I did it and this is how it played out. So you might want to steer clear altogether or, figure out a better way to navigate those waters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With that too, a couple of times you had mentioned that you also had to make the decision to let friends go, things that at the time did not make sense, and then they finally made sense. talk to us about the significance of having to make such decisions like that. Like, obviously the environment that you were in, the atmosphere of who you were around, and how that played out for you.
Man, oh man. So there one story, or not story, one situation specifically stands out. This was shortly after my divorce, or after my separation, excuse me, shortly after my separation. I moved into, it's crazy how it happened. I moved into the exact apartment that my mom, my brother, my sisters, and I moved into when we moved here from New York. I moved into that exact apartment with my brother, my younger brother, and two friends from the Navy. Both those guys in the Navy had kids, so I knew they would understand. My brother didn't, but that's my brother. Whatever. They had kids, and one of them had a significant other. The other was going through a divorce with me, is going through all that as well. So again, that was my dog. That was my road dog. He understood. Mm-hmm. So my thought process was, all right, aside from my brother, everybody here has kids, so they understand where my mental is. They understand that right now I'm focused on my kids first, me later, everything else long after that. Right now, my focus is my kids. And for a while, it seemed like they understood, until I had to go out of town. I had to go out of town for a bit because of training. Mm-hmm. So I had to, the command I was attached to had different detachments go all over the country for training for various reasons and certs. And I had to go out to El Centro, California. So I had to be out there for 2.5 weeks. My brother was there. My mom was still here. My sisters were still here at the time. So I knew I had support. Left the kids with my mom. She'd get them taken care of. And I was seeing someone at the time, and mind you, me and this woman were toxic for each other. We should not have been dealing with each other, but everybody makes mistakes, it happens.
Of course.
Yeah. But I remember her calling me and telling me that she had showed up at my place. I'd let her drive my car, and I never let anybody do that, but I'd let her have my car because I couldn't use it. My brother didn't have a license. So here, you can use my car, get yourself to work, et cetera, et cetera. She goes over and she tells me that one of my roommates was, handling business in my bed. And that to most people, that would not be an issue. Mm-hmm. To most people, it wouldn't be an issue. Whatever, change the sheets, whatever. So I waited and gave him the opportunity. I came home and found that my sheets had not been washed, had not been changed. That set me off. Mm-hmm. Because, bro, my kids sleep here. Wow. I don't care if it was me. If it was just me, that's gross, but I'll wash them. No biggie. Yeah. No biggie. My kids sleep here, bro. My first stop upon coming back from training, go to my mama's house, pick up my kids. We go right to the house. They're tired because I got home. I got in late. They're tired. They want to go to bed. I can't let them go to bed now because I've got to wash these sheets, bro. Again, everybody with kids will tell you there's a certain level of ferocity that comes with any hurting, any mistreating, and hell, any inconveniencing of your kids, bro. And the level of anger I felt, and I know everybody listening is like, it's probably like, bro, it's just sheets. Just wash the sheets. Just change the sheets. Easy fix. Yes, you are absolutely right. I am not going to argue with that. There's no valid reason for me to have been the level of angry that I was at that time. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make any sense. The best thing I can think of was, at the time, I viewed that as my kids' home. That's where my kids lay their fucking head. I disrespected their home, bro. Yeah. So, needless to say, that they didn't live there much longer. Those two friendships ended, and that's fine. They weren't real ones anyway, so to each their own. I wish them nothing but happiness and success and all that they do. At that moment, we weren't right for each other. That's all.
Yeah, so
but I say all that to say, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know from what you had said, but it might be kind of split right there, because some people might be cool with that nastiness and that triflingness, some people be like, you are justifiably correct as far as how nasty, disgusting, and disrespectful that was. So that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah. And it's wild because talking about it, and back then talking about it and bringing it up to other friends, like just to, how you check with your circle, like, yo, am I bugging? Did I take it too far? Like, am I wrong for this, et cetera, et cetera? Even then it was split. Like with the people I knew and my friend groups, et cetera, it was split. And it's crazy because the people who were like, bro, that's not that big of a deal. I'm looking at them like, so if I did that at your house where your kids stay, you'd be cool with it? Like what? You know what? How are we having this conversation right now? I'm gonna get back to work. I'll check you later, bro. You be cool, man. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But that, like I said, like the moment I decided that I wanted, and I say that explicitly because most people don't choose to have a kid. It kind of just happens. But when I decided I was going to be a father, I was going to be the father, the dad, the male role model, the male figure, whatever people are calling it nowadays. I don't know. I don't keep up with society. But when I decided I was going to be a father, like I said, every decision I made, everything was focused on how this was going to affect my children, how this was going to affect my kids. Was it going to have a negative impact? Was it going to be positive? Okay, it's going to be positive. Cool. How long will it be positive? What are some things that they can get from this? What are some things that they can learn from this, et cetera, et cetera? Again, all all situations and all decisions and choices, they weren't the best. In the moment, hey, at the time, I've got a guy who's going through a divorce. He doesn't have a bunch of women in and out. I've got another guy who's in a committed relationship, so he's not going to have a bunch of women coming in and out. Then I've got my younger brother, lazy and in the ass, but he ain't getting no play, so I'm worried about it. So it's not going to be an environment in which there are going to be a bunch of women, a bunch of strangers around my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So boom, I don't have to worry about any of that. There aren't going to be a bunch of strangers around my kids. And throughout, obviously, that was not the best situation. That was not the best situation for my kids to be in, and it sucked because at the end of that, I had to make a really tough and difficult choice. One that was very hard for me, one that, if I'm going to be absolutely honest, have lost sleep over, even after speaking with a therapist about it, still just doesn't sit right with me because I feel like I failed and I feel like I failed them. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make a very tough decision that was for and in their best interest. And it came to bite me in the ass, but all things happen for a reason. And one day at some point in time, I have to hope that one day at some point in time, my kids are going to be old enough and want to ask me the question as to why, in which I am ready and willing and want to sit down with them and explain to them the reason why.
How is the relationship with she actually is, you said divorce, so your ex-wife, how is that relationship today, especially for the sake of the kids?
Amicable.
Okay.
It's probably the best word I could put there. Over the years. Okay, give me a second. I need to tread lightly here. Over the years, things have been said and done, whether it had been out of pettiness, out of spite, out of anger, what have you. Both. I'm not gonna put everything. We both have said and done some things to each other that we shouldn't have. But for a long time, I've only ever wanted to, hey, let's just be good for the kids. Like, it didn't work. We tried. We grew apart. We grew into two different people. We met young, had a kid young, married young. We got married at 17.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be absolutely honest, what the fuck did we? You know what I mean? So we grew into different people and we grew apart.
How is the relationship now with your ex-wife?
The relationship is functioning.
Okay.
Not as well or as fine-tuned as I would like it. I personally would like more communication, but that's a difficult ask because that's never really, and it's not a slight against her. It's just never really been like her strong suit. You know what I mean? So, and I don't want to go back into the mentality of thinking that the lack of communication is to spite me. That's a dark path. I don't want to go down that road again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the relationship now, I'll say, to be fair, I'll say functioning.
Okay.
It could be better. There could be some improvements. Absolutely. But it works.
Okay.
It works. Yeah, it works for now.
Okay. And how did y'all initially meet anyway?
Oh God. High school. Freshman year of high school.
So, with that being the case, she's from New York as well, or is she from down here?
No, she was actually born, if I remember correctly, she was born in California. Her dad was Navy. And so they bounced back and forth. They lived in Cali for a while and then they moved here. And I met her the end of freshman year, pursued her all through sophomore year, got denied a lot, pursued her all through sophomore year. Finally, at the end of sophomore year, I asked her out again, and she actually said yes. Went out on a date, dinner and a movie, hung out, and it was history after that, man.
Okay. Okay. So you got a son and a daughter, and you've mentioned the Navy, obviously for yourself. Of course, thank you for. I hope it doesn't sound or seem too cliche, but thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
How long did you actually serve? Because you mentioned now being out of the Navy. So how long were you in the Navy active?
So I retired at just under 16 years. No, 16 years. 16 years, yeah. Medically retired. Rheumatoid arthritis. The Navy cannot support that active duty. They cannot support sending me out to sea for 7, 8, 9, 10 months at a time with that medication because it is expensive and has to be kept a certain way. So, in tradition of the greater good, the Navy saw fit to, hey, the company's gonna go in a different direction, and we appreciate your time. Here's the severance. Here's some disability. You're good. You don't got to worry about us calling you anymore. Good luck to you. Cool.
Wow.
But it's not. I know that sounds kind of negative. It's not a negative thing because I was medically retired. Like I still retained all of my benefits. My kids still get my GI Bill. They can still go to school. You know, healthcare for life. Get a I get a decent check for life, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. We doing all right over here.
Man. Okay. So you probably, if you had the opportunity without being discharged medically, you probably would have served how many more years in the Navy?
I would have at least gone to 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the initial goal. No, I take that back. It was the initial goal when I joined. And as time went on, you know what, maybe this ain't for me. But it's easy. It's not hard. Hey,
Mm.
the military, it's one thing about it, like they tell you what to wear, they tell you where to go, they tell you what to do, they teach you how to do it. You essentially just have to show up. Everything else is muscle memory. It's not that bad. The one thing that sucks, I will say, is the time away because you can't get that back. And I have spent a lot of years on sea duty, a lot of years. So that's a lot. It's quite a few deployments. When it was all said and done, 8 deployments I did. None shorter. I think the shortest one was 7 months. Everyone after that and before that was 8, 9. There was one that got extended twice, 10 months, 11 months. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing that like that sucks. That really sucks because you can't get that back. Everybody now is chasing the generational wealth, the stuff that they can leave with the kids, the grandkids, the great grandkids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're absolutely right. I'm chasing that too. I'm trying to build something that when I'm done with it, I've had my fun. I can give the keys to my kids. It's on you now. You got it. Hold it down, take care of it, build on it, grow on it, whatever it is you want to do, but it's yours. This is yours. What you do is what you do.
Why would you say that that's so important, man? Of course, we've been told and or taught about that as far as leaving something behind, inheritance, legacy, generational wealth. But why would you say that that's so important?
Why else do we do anything that we do for our kids? We want them to have better. We want them to be better. We want the best for them. It's important because if not for our kids, what are we doing? You know what I mean? If there's someone out there that is struggling to find motivation, is struggling to find a reason to do anything because life is hard. And life is hard. Life be lifing, bro. Trust and believe. It's hard. Everybody has those moments. Everybody's been there or been in a situation in which couldn't get out of bed, didn't want to deal with nothing, spent a week in bed or whatever have you, not motivated to do anything, go anywhere, et cetera, et cetera. For those that don't have kids, find somebody who got some. Find somebody who got some. Just hang out with them for a little bit. Children, tiny humans, young adults have a way of, if you listen, they have a way of awakening something in us, even as adults. I'm 35, about to be 36. I hear on an almost daily basis from my kids that I'm old, that I'm not funny, I'm lame, etc., yada yada. Sometimes that shit hurt. I'm not gonna lie, but in hearing that, that motivates me. Kids got a way of humbling you, bro. Mm-hmm. And they are ruthless. They are savage with it, but they will humble you. They will humble you. And in that humbling, if you listen, if you hear it, and if you have the want to be better, you will hear it, you'll reflect on it, you'll spin the block and go, all right, it's time to get busy. But I say all that to say, you ask why it's so important to leave something, why it's so important for me to leave something behind for my kids. And again, I say, because what else is there? If I'm not working my fingers to the bone, staying up late, getting up early, if I'm not doing that for them so that they don't have to, so that when it comes time for my son to want to start his own or open up his own, wildlife reserve, or for my daughter to start her fashion line or design a drone or something like that. If I can't support them then, or let me rephrase that. If I can support those dreams by working so hard now, worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, true. You mentioned more so of your son obviously being the first. With your daughter and things that you mentioned as far as like that were brought out of you to want to be more of a dad, more of a father than what you had. And with what I've been told and been able to observe, obviously daughters are and have to be treated differently than sons. What kind of bar do you think that you've been able to set as her father, as that first male example in her life for whenever the time comes as far as her meeting that person in her life?
I'd want to say that I have set not a high bar, and not a high bar because there have been very few interactions with my kids and, let's say, any woman I was entertaining. Let's say that. Been very few. But the few that they have seen, respect has always been there. Appreciation has always been there. Making sure that there's an understanding of how important communication is sometimes. And, to explain it to, younger humans, sometimes there are going to be things that someone's going to say something to you that you don't like or that you don't agree with. And while that may make you feel some type of way, that's okay, but it doesn't diminish their saying what they're saying. It doesn't, you can't diminish or take away what it is that they're feeling or expressing to you. But I digress. The bar I've set is that regardless of who it is, as long as they respect you, you respect them. As long as they make you happy, you make them happy, and you're not putting yourself in any kind of situation that's going to compromise who you believe or what you believe in. Live your life. Do your thing. There are going to be people, I've tried to express to both of them, especially my daughter, that there are going to be people that come into your life and things may seem, hell, they may even be sunshine and daisies, rainbows, unicorn farts, all that good stuff. It may be someone may come into your life and be that and more. Mm-hmm. If that happens, great. If it happens, be mindful, be understanding of the fact that while that may be all well and good, this is gonna sound cheesy and cliche as hell, but I'm a big Transformers junkie. Optimus Prime, he always says, there's more to us than meets the eye. So I always tell them, and I try to do the Optimus Prime voice all the time, but I tell them, there's more to everything that's on the surface, everything that you're seeing, there's always more to it. You just got to look and you've got to pay attention. And I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not saying that you will never come across anyone that's perfect for you. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if and or when that happens, just be mindful and be careful. As much as we as parents, as much as we try to prepare our kids for life, we try to prepare them for the things that life is going to do to them, because like I said, life is hard. Life sucks. And experiencing it now, watching my son go off into the world to make his own mistakes and bad decisions and choices. And I'm excited for him to do it. but I'm also terrified for him because I know that everything that I've sat down and spoken to him about, every life experience I've tried to put before him and place him in to get him to see and learn and understand and grow and adapt. Everything is we try so hard, but it's for naught because life is gonna life so much harder than we ever could have portrayed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's so trippy to have kids, bro. It's so trippy. It's so crazy, bro. Sorry, I got way off topic, man. My
No,
bad.
it's all good. I told you it's like a movie. I'm following you, man. So along with what you just mentioned, because that's definitely good stuff, especially of what I usually like to lean toward to get out of the dads that I sit across from. And then you got your military background. So it's almost like, from the movies when it's like, if you're watching this, then that means A has happened or B has happened. So for you, man, if you were to use Walking with Dad, using this time with us and everything that you've shared with us today, and for your kids, for them to come back to this episode to see their dad speaking and sharing, some insights, some good knowledge, some good nuggets. Is there anything else along with what you just mentioned that you would want to share personally with your kids?
Oh, if I were to treat this like a time capsule, and my kids, say 5-10 years, were to come across this podcast, if I were to say anything to them, I would tell them that I love them from the bottom of my heart. They are, have been, and always will be my gravity. They are what keep me here. I would tell them that regardless of how it may sometimes seem, it may sometimes feel that I may not understand, I don't get it. I do understand and I do get it. And have only ever tried to get you to look at things from a different perspective, to see things not the way I do, but just to see things differently. I would also tell them that, sorry, this is something that I have struggled with, even with therapy. I would also tell them that I'm sorry and that I'm sorry for failing them. And what I mean by that is, I wanted to give them the 2-parent household. I wanted to give them that more than anything. I was 17, 18, 19. Me and their mother, we didn't know any better. We knew what we wanted, but we were young. We were dumb. We didn't listen to the wise people who tried to talk to us. But I wanted to give them the 2-parent household, so much so that I was ready and willing to sacrifice any and all happiness to make sure they had that. Growing and realizing and learning myself and learning about relationships and learning about the dynamic of, mother, father, child, etc., learning more about it, learning more about myself and understanding how relationships work. I feel bad because I feel like I failed them. However, I'm glad things happened and turned out the way they did, because, and I can't and won't speak for their mother because her journey is her journey, but I have spent years self-reflecting, analyzing, replaying events, thinking about past situations. I would not be who I am today. And that's multifaceted. Navy vet, father, entrepreneur, friend, counselor, life coach, boyfriend, soul companion, whatever. I don't know. But I wear so many hats now because of them, for them. Everything that I say and do is for them. Always has been, always will be. Like I said, they're my gravity. And I love them. I appreciate them for keeping me humble, for keeping me young, and I know they didn't really have a choice, but for being. Yeah, that'd be something along those lines. Would be what I would tell them.
All right, man. And I appreciate that. I know that they will as well, man, for sure. And then also with that, for Walking with Dad, any of our dads, fathers out here, maybe in your shoes already with kids, aspiring soon to be future fathers and dads, any words of wisdom, maybe even a challenge per se, what you have to suggest or to put in forth for our dads and our fathers?
Ooh, okay. All right. Advice, definitely. Words of wisdom, definitely. I would first say that, and this is from my personal experience, regardless of who your baby mom's, your ex-wife, the one night stand, whatever, regardless of who she is, if she gave you kids, appreciate her. And By no means am I saying kiss her ass, but appreciate her. She blessed you. And whether you're ready for it or not, kids are a blessing. I just finished saying my kids are my gravity. They keep me here. If it weren't for them, I'd be on Mars being a cross-planet truck driver or some shit. So appreciate her because she blessed you, regardless of what those that are going through it with, I'm not going to say bitter, but that are going through it with the baby moms. And it was said to me 1,000 times over, and I know for a fact it is easier said than done. Don't feed into it. Do not feed into it. Hear me when I say these words. They're going to try. They are going to try. Even when you think that they're done trying, they're going to try. Don't feed into it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about her. If I'm going to be absolutely honest, and this is going to get vulgar, and I apologize in advance, fuck your feelings, fuck her feelings. It's not about you. It's not about her. It's not about who did what to who, etc., etc. It's about the kids. That's it. That is it. And if you can't see past that, if you can't see that it's for and about the kids, what are you doing? Aspiring fathers, there's no manual. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care what video you see on YouTube. I don't care what doctor says what. There is no manual. There's no manual that comes with them. There's no manual that tells you, there are going to be times and moments when your kids drive you to the point that you want to pull your hair out. And then 30 seconds later, they do something and it literally makes you cry. And it's nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Take my daughter, for example, going into another room to poop in a diaper. Why do that? Why do that? But after yelling at me for 45 minutes, I realized that, and it's, come here. I love you so much. You're so adorable. There's no manual. There's no manual that comes with them. So the best advice I can give to aspiring fathers, take it one day at a time. One day at a time. And for me, my motivation was I needed to be for my kids what I never had. So, and there's nothing against those who had a father in their life, didn't have a father in their life. This is no slight to anyone. That was my motivation. I needed to be for my kids what I wanted for me as a kid. A challenge is when it's all said and done, what's left? What's left of us? Everything we say and do, life, just a culmination of moments, some good, some bad, but what's left? Our name, maybe, depending on how generations go. Our money, that comes and goes. Fucking legacy, man. That shit lasts. Now, and I don't know if there's like a book of dads somewhere in like Valhalla or something like that. I don't know. I hope so, because that'd be dope. But if there were to be a book of dads, I'd want to be in it for something notable, for putting a Band-Aid on my son's knee, wiping my daughter's tears when she broke her favorite toy, something. There's no challenge. Be there for them, with them, and take in those moments, because time, that's the only thing that matters, man. That's the only thing we can't get back. From experience, I've lost a lot. 8 deployments, 9 deployments, it's a lot of time, a lot of birthdays, a lot of moments, a lot of milestones I missed. But I'm here now. Making sure that I am not missing a moment. And if that means picking up my son because he's been out underage drinking, fine. If that means taking my daughter to get a pedicure and getting, what is this, aquamarine, teal, whatever color my toenails are right now, so be it. Fine. Be there, because it's these moments, these experiences, that's what makes our legacy. So be there for them, be there with them. That's my challenge to aspiring fathers, dads going through it, those that want to be, those that are and don't want to be, that watch this podcast. Be there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Anything else? Anything at all of anything that we've spoken about today? Anything.
Oh no, bro. I'm good, man. I'm good. I gotta looking at the time, I've got to start getting ready. I gotta go pick up a cake for a party. I still gotta get drinks and all that stuff. I gotta get dressed. I got stuff to do, bro. But I will say I appreciate you. And this was fun. And I would love to do it again. And if it's all right with you, shameless plug, any subcontractors out there looking for a prime, regardless of what it is, hardware, software, food, AI, security, anything. I'm a prime contractor. You can find me at ltresolutions.com. You can email me at admin@ltresolutions.com. And I'm not going to give my phone number out. We'll start there. And any subcontract looking for a prime work, whether federal or state, look me up, reach out to me. Available to talk and collaborate.
Gotcha. Any media plugs for your?
I only do the Facebook, and that's Resolutions on Facebook, or Lameek Rivers on Facebook. Look me up, you'll see.
Yes, sir. That's give us the spelling just in case.
L-I-E-K, Rivers, R-I-V-E-S.
Man, you definitely enjoy time. You'll be celebrating, man, for sure. Be safe out there. Appreciate your time. Everything that you share with the stories.
Brother, I plenty of, man. Let me know. Look, whatever the topic, I promise. When I need, I got you, man.
Man, I appreciate you again, and walking with Dad. Appreciate you. For everybody who's tuned in today, please leave a comment or something that was shared today that stood out to you, that you'll take with you and implement in your life or in your situation. Please share with somebody that comes to mind that what was also shared today may be something that they can tune into and they can use as well. Like this space, so that we can definitely get some more exposure through the platforms that we're on. And subscribe. Please subscribe. Subscribe to Walking with Dad. We will see you on the next episode. I appreciate your time. Lameek, I appreciate you again, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Yes. Happy Father's Day to all my brothers out there. Happy Father's Day to you, gents. Make sure you enjoy your day.
And every day here at Walking with Dad.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you.